A pregnant mommy sleuth who was locked into this investigation discovered something that me and my team had missed. I consider her, obviously, and all of you to be my decentralized intelligence agents. Anyway, she sent me a rather urgent email, and I'm obviously protecting her identity for reasons that are clear. But I want you to know that this discovery is due entirely to her. She is the person that in this regard went max for Charlie when I missed something. Her email stated, in effect, that I was only partially right about the plane tracking Charlie, that she had done an additional 15 hours of research and was able to discern that the person the planes were actually tracking for years was Erica. Not Charlie, but Erica was the one being tracked by these planes. And indeed, it turns out that she was correct. She discovered that between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SUBTT, the yellow plane, and SUBND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. Charlie was also present. And that's what I was stumbling upon when I was looking into this. I was like, why is this plane where Charlie is? The flights were majority clustered within 5 states, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, and Utah. And it's a pattern that she believes is statistically not random. I'm telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet. Now, these are all the instances in which this plane, 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica. And I'm also going to say this includes overseas as well, okay? So my instant question becomes, why didn't Turning Point acknowledge that this plane was familiar to them? When I was taking all of these figurative online bullets, someone could have easily said something, right? That's kind of a repeat thing in this investigation. Josh Hammer lies, I get attacked, Turning Point just stays silent. They know he's lying, but they allow the lie to flow. Alex Clark lies, I get attacked, I'm telling the truth. Turning Point knows it, but they kind of allow this like Catholic thing, lie to flow. And the influencers are allowed to lie. Nobody at Turning Point ever just steps to clarify that I'm onto something or I'm telling the truth about something. And when it comes to these Egyptian flights, the math on this is indisputable. There is less than a 0.000000001% probability, okay, under random distribution models that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times. Like I said, this plane was not just with her in America, it was also tracking her overseas as well. I flagged this because I was alarmed because I thought it was tracking Charlie, and I am telling you that this plane, in addition to Charlie, and primarily actually was tracking Erica. Now, let's get to the day of the assassination. On the day of Charlie's assassination, we know the yellow plane took off in the morning, but the blue plane did not take off in the morning. The blue plane, SUBND, did, however, power on. And I want to be very clear as to what I mean when I say that this plane was on. I am saying that it was transponding, okay? It's transponding at the FBO at Duncan Aviation, a private terminal. So at the very least, they powered up the electronics. At most, they fully powered it on and the engine was running. What we know for certain is that it did not move from the FBO. Did not move. It was just on and transponding. And I want you to recognize, I'm going to make it clear for you what are the times that they were transponding. It's 2 times, and I'm going to tell you those times, but first I'm going to have Mark pull this up and he can tell us what it is that we're looking at here and how we were able to find this information about the jet that was just sitting at the FBO.
Yeah, so it looks like, based on this information that I found, and I had to figure out how to use this website because my mother didn't take enough Tylenol when she was pregnant with me, so I can't get too detailed on it. But essentially, all the flight radar websites only show when the plane is actually in the air. But if the plane is on the ground and transmitting, that data from the ADSB transponder still goes out. So this website, ADSB Exchange, takes that raw data. And so I was able to find it on September 10th. If you look on the very left of the frame, it shows September 10th. And it looks like there's just one data point. But what I did is I zoomed in, and the plane's actually not moving. It's just GPS is a little bit inaccurate when you're this close, but you're able to see all these different times here. And that is the UTC time zone, also known as Zulu time. So subtract 7 hours from that to get Utah time. And so I tracked all these down, and I was able to find that the plane was transponding from 9:05 a.m. until 10:34 a.m. Then it was off. And then at 12:40 p.m., it came back on and turned off again at 1:29 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to repeat that so that everybody understands. We were able to discern from this data as follows. On September 10th, on the day of Charlie's assassination, this plane first transponded from 9:05 a.m. plus 36 seconds until it was turned off at 10:34 a.m. and 5 seconds. Then the plane turned back on, the transponder was turned back on just 17 minutes after Charlie was shot at 12:40 p.m. and 53 seconds, and it stayed on until 1:29 p.m. and 40 seconds. So what was the blue plane doing sitting on the tarmac? We can only imagine what it was doing, okay? We can run a couple of options here. It's possible that they were just running a maintenance check. Duncan Aviation does offer maintenance repairs. It's therefore possible that it just chose to run some maintenance checks at an unfortunate time, okay? Another possibility is that a military jet, particularly one from a foreign country, would likely be equipped with encrypted satellite-based communications capabilities. If you wanted to make an untraceable phone call, as an example, that would be a good place to do so because only the NSA would be able to intercept that call. And it's pretty obvious that the deep state doesn't seem particularly interested in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So that'd be a safe place to communicate on that plane. Like I said, these are our options. What we can do now, however, is we can add this to our list of verifiable Turning Point USA lies because I'm going to count this as a lie by severe omission. By keeping your mouth shut and allowing Candace to take all the figurative bullets as she points out the oddity of a plane that you guys recognized, okay? My point is that these planes were known to Turning Point USA, and we all deserve to know why they were on the ground on that day, what they were doing on the ground on that day, and also why Turning Point chose to stay mum when every influencer under the sun and every publication attacked me for even mentioning the planes, making it seem like I was dumb, I was stupid. Turning Point USA is able to provide answers to these questions. There's more that I know, by the way, but I want to challenge them to respond to this first. Were these Egyptian military planes familiar to Charlie Kirk? It is a simple yes or no question. And answer it carefully, please, Andrew Colvett, spokesperson for Turning Point USA. Because there is something very specific, Andrew, that you told me that happened when you arrived into Provo on the tarmac that day, and it is now playing over and over and over again in my mind, and it isn't adding up.
Part of the problem that a lot of people have with Candace and this Egyptian plane foolishness is that she's not giving details in a way that other people can fully understand it. So they have to just take Candace at her word because they're like, well, surely nobody would make this up. Well, shout out to this gentleman on X who took the time to actually do the research, do the back work, if you will. And let's see what he has. Fact check on Candace's 73 flight overlaps claims that about Egyptian, let's just call it SUBTT. We're going to call it BTT and BND and Charlie Kirk and Erica. I pulled the same planes, dates from her own spreadsheet and checked against the Flight Radar 24 and ADS-B logs. These aren't typos. These are overt intentional lies. All right, let's find out what happens. Owens says an anonymous pregnant mommy sleuth and the decentralized intelligence agents uncovered a years-long surveillance op on Erica that she and her team somehow missed and that she personally totally verified the data. That is her claim, not mine. She sells us as proof that of a joint Egyptian-Israeli Protestant Jewish corporate deep state conspiracy orbiting or colluding with the widow of a murdered man. So very simply, do the flights she shows on BTT and BND actually exist where and when she says they do? Since buzzwords confuse a lot of people, I took her spreadsheet entries for BTT and BND from the last 12 months and check them date by date against public ADS-B history for those tail numbers using tools like Flight Radar 24, same dates, same aircraft. Example 1, her claim on the 8th of December 2024, BND flew Provo, Paris, Salt Lake City, and this counted as an overlap with Erica. Reality, BND landed in Cairo on the 7th of December and sat on the ground there until the 10th of December. It never left Egypt on the dates that she's selling her audience. And let's just see real quick. This is too big. Sorry about that. Pause. This does not look good at all, Jason. Okay. So the plane landed in Cairo on the 7th and took back off on the 10th. Okay. Am I understanding that right? Yeah. All right, we're not going to click on these anymore because they messed up my. Please go check out this gentleman's, all these different links that he just posted because they're messing up my screen share when I click on them. Example 2, her claim 12 January 2025. BTT flew to Paris, Wichita, and Cairo. Okay, got you. Reality, the jet is in Cairo, flies out in a loop back to Cairo. There is no Paris to Wichita hop, no Kansas, no overlap, just Egypt. Okay, and here's his evidence to that point. Example 3, her claim on the 17th of January 25, BTT again flying Paris to Wichita. Reality, never left Egypt. Took off in Cairo, down to a base, back to Cairo. Example 4, her claim on the 8th of February, 15th of March, 19th of April, 18th of June show numerous trips. Reality, each time plane was in Cairo. The multi-leg routes she is selling literally never happened. I do want people to explain, like, how did she get this information? Because it seems pretty obvious here. I would love for maybe one of the mommy sleuths to explain, but even worse than that, what does this got to do with anything? I don't think any of this even matters. Shout out to this person for debunking it, for sure. This is not a typo. Across the sheet, flights are recycled to inflate the overlap count. Routes are invented, and Erica is attached to flights with no geographical or topical connection to her actual life. It is either fabrication or malignant incompetence. And y'all could check those links out. I checked the last 12 months because archived ADS-B data older than 365 days costs money. Anyone can do this part. This is the cheapest, easiest, and openly verifiable part of the claim. She calls completely verified, and it's a wall-to-wall lies. So let's be clear. Using her own spreadsheet against real flight data, there's no multi-year surveillance campaign. Now, I want to just add, if what he said here is true that you have to pay for it, that means that mommy sleuth had to pay for this. I wonder, did she admit that she paid for it? Does she acknowledge that she paid for it? Because she said it was years. So if you have to pay for it after 365 days, did that mommy sleuth, the pregnant mommy sleuth, did she pay for it? There's no Egypt to Utah jet hopping pursuit. There's no hidden briefcase handoff between Erica and Egyptians buried in flight logs. It's not the Jews. It's not the Protestants. It's not TPUSA. It's not Zionists or anyone other than Candace Owens. This is a monetized true crime script built on lies, lack of integrity, ignorance, and complacence. If you think I'm wrong, do what Candace Owens claims she did. Take her spreadsheet, pull the same tail numbers and the same dates, run them against Flight Radar 24 or any ADS-B history. When you do, you will see the same thing I did. Disclaimer, I have no dog in the race. I don't even use this app. But any husband, dad should hope that if you are violently murdered and a vapid, money-hungry lady or ranting, delusional person, you decide which, comes at your wife's somehow, you actually use Google for them. I mean, come on. Shout out to this person for sure. So I think this is very interesting because I don't know all this flight data information. So I have to take either Candace at her word or this young man at his word. Let me just click on this real quick and see. All right. So we see BND, and it is going from Cairo. It does a loop and comes back around. I don't know, maintenance, engine check, instrument panel check, whatever. So this literally did a loop. I agree. So did Candace actually do this research? She said it's verifiable. So she did say that she put her name on it. And it seemed like her name, it didn't do well. It didn't do well for her to put her name on it. I'm just looking to see if I missed anything else. Okay, we got all the little sub comments. What do you think down in the comments below? Let me know. Do you think that Candace is on the money or think she's wrong? Let me know. I appreciate y'all. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Whitt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.